I started off the video with that moment because it was just absolutely epic to experience that for the first time. So you just walk into the area and then all of a sudden the Now Never 7 would start performing. That was just absolutely brilliant, and it cemented my feelings about the Grand Festival, how it is peak Splatoon. It is peak Nintendo. A lot of Nintendo fans, especially in the West, were sleeping on this Grand Festival. More fool them because they missed out on an absolutely epic festival. We pretty much got like a music concert in a game, which I think can match something like a Fortnite experience that you know I have seen. I don't really play Fortnite, but I know they do have like in real life musicians performing in that game, and for me this does match it and tops it for me. And yeah, I have been playing Splatoon. I have been covering Splatoon since it first got revealed in June 2014. For me, like I said before, this is peak Splatoon. If this is the end of the trilogy, if we are going to be getting a brand new set of characters, then what a way to go out. I would say the only sort of negative I had about Splatoon 3 Grand Festival was the Tricolor stage and Tricolor in general. It was defending biased. I was on the attacking team a few times and I got spawn camped, as you will be seeing in the background of this video. I would say that this was the early aspect where the final Splatfest in the second game was better than Grand Festival. For me, MC Princess Diaries was better than this Tricolor stage. Don't get me wrong, it was really cool to like spawn in, hear the idols like sort of cheer you on before you do start, and then you do see the jellyfish as well on the start screen sort of cheering you on as well. And you know, that was just really cool to see a crowd watching your experience. And then if you were on the defending team, you could look behind you and see the Grand Festival venue. That was really cool. But for me, the main gimmick of this Tricolor stage, pretty much getting the idols once you do get the second ultra signal, and then the idols would perform in the background. For me, they were just way too small to actually even see them, and you couldn't really focus on them either because pretty much people would be splatting you, so you couldn't really watch their performances. For me, MC Princess Diaries, how we got to see Pearl and Marina fly around in a helicopter, and then Pearl would drop down with the Princess Cannon, Marina would drop her hyper bombs, and we got to see the statue from the Octo expansion. It was just a much better stage in my opinion than the Tricolor stage. And yeah, I would say the multiplayer in general was the only sort of weak thing about the Grand Festival in general. The amount of times I got panic button, reef slided and triple splashdown as I call it, so pretty much you could be shooting someone and then they could just, you know, they are losing that fight, and then all of a sudden they bring out a reef slider, bring out a triple splashdown, and that is it. You got killed, not because of skill but because of that, and it kind of got a little bit frustrating for me, but it did get better on the second and third day. But yeah, the multiplayer was definitely the weakest bit. But yeah, my word, the Grand Festival hub area, it was definitely the best hub area we have seen for Splatoon, and I don't know how Nintendo are going to top it for the fourth game, because I don't feel like you can top it. I feel like whatever they do will feel like a step back. The amount of detail they did put into this venue, I did point out in a couple of videos, I've got another one coming up, it might have already been uploaded, but yeah, the amount of secrets and hidden details in there. And you know, in the whole Grand Festival in general, in terms of the music as well, it's just, yeah, Nintendo went all out with the Grand Festival. You know what was great as well is because, you know, Nintendo, they do host live concerts for Splatoon in Japan, and we don't really get to see that in the West, but this was our way to experience those concerts in the actual game. I've been saying for a while now that Nintendo should do these concerts in the game, and they did it, and they did it in style. They did it in an absolutely epic way. It was just absolutely brilliant to experience a music festival in the game. I said this before, I said that earlier. A lot of people saying, oh, we need the Switch 2 because the Switch's graphics are, you know, not the best. And yeah, I do get that, but I never really felt that way through the Grand Festival. I thought, wow, this looks absolutely amazing. The amount of jellyfish in there as well. I did not think at any point that I wish this was on stronger hardware. For me, this was absolutely perfect. I just love the Grand Festival venue so much so I probably put in around about 5 or 6 hours just walking around in the Grand Festival venue. I put in around about 20 hours into the Grand Festival in general. And yeah, I would say, yeah, 7 hours of that probably was me just, walking around, just experiencing the Grand Festival venue due to how great it was. So for me, this was better than Side Order in terms of how great it was. I just enjoyed this a lot more than Side Order, and I feel like it was the best thing about Splatoon 3. If I could point back in years to come and say what was the best moment of Splatoon 3, I would say it was this Grand Festival, hands down. So I just want to say a massive thank you to Nintendo and massive props to Nintendo for doing this, going all out on a 2-year-old game. I absolutely loved it, and yeah, I would score it a 9 out of 10. It would get a 10 out of 10 if the Tricolor stage was a little bit better, if the gimmick was a little bit better. I really must say that I really did feel like the connection in the multiplayer battles was just so much better than what I experienced for the previous 2 years of the game. I feel like they did do this with a recent update. I didn't really get many communication errors at all. I can only really remember 3 of them. 2 of them was because my internet went down. 1 of them was because of the actual game itself. So that ain't that bad out of 20 hours of gameplay, or maybe 10 hours or 15 hours of that I was actually in the multiplayer. Before that, during the Splatfest, I always seem to get more communication errors, but not with the Grand Festival. With this one, I barely got any communication errors whatsoever, and the connection felt really smooth. It felt like I went back to the Splatoon 2 days, because that's what it felt like to me during Splatfest in the second game. So yeah, all in all, this was just such a really cool event to be part of. This is going to get referenced, by the way, in future Splatoon games. It's like how Marina, she referenced listening to Calamari Incantation. Whatever happens in Splatoon 4, maybe we will get a character referencing this Grand Festival. But yeah, it was just such an amazing event to be part of. I feel like this is the coolest multiplayer event Nintendo have ever done in any one of their games, and they do get huge amount of props from me. But that is just my thoughts on the Grand Festival. I absolutely loved it. I've got more Grand Festival content coming up soon. But that is it with this video. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below.